Hi guys. Hi there. Hi Theo. Hi everyone. So today is a very non-standard sort of live situation because instead of a desk, I have a couch and a futon. So I'm over here on a couch with a futon, trying to do the news from there. I might move the camera a little bit closer. We'll see. Yeah, I think I should. Hi. Good to see you guys. Well, lots of news today. I will start the news today from from a little bit of a different angle, I guess. First of all, I got bitten by mosquitoes like crazy, so I itch everywhere. Hi Prexis. Hi Tammy. First of all, hi Scooter. Hi everyone. So we're in DC. I don't know who said that New York has the largest amount of rats, because it is clearly DC. First of all, rats in New York are small. Rats in here are horrifyingly big. We booked a last-minute hotel, and it's in downtown, so we're right by Logan Circle, DuPont Circle, and we're right by the White House. There are so many rats here. We have seen about 20. Hi, everyone. Hi, Chris Anderson. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Veronica. We have seen about 20 rats, and we have only been to the city for about 2 hours, and we have only been outside for about an hour because we were looking to get dinner. Also, it's downtown DC, so everything was closed at 9 or 8:30. So that was fun. But I'm gonna show my mom around tomorrow, and I'm gonna show her some places. Well, we're in downtown DC. Also, I'm from New York, so New York is supposed to be rat central. Heroям slava. And so far, DC has been way more rat central than New York ever was. So what else? That's about it from personal stuff. 2, Trump, Mar-a-Lago was completely sorry. Let me just move the camera a little. Yeah, better. Okay, so Mar-a-Lago was basically raided by the FBI today. Not basically, but quite literally. And they have found a bunch of documents. One of them being the resignation letter from oh my gosh, the chief security officer. And it's quite insane because he basically called Trump fascist, which is, well, I really agree with that. Also, my gosh, I hate this. I don't know how to put this so that hi Sherry, so that I feel comfortable sitting here because, okay, this should be better. All right. So, Mar-a-Lago got raided, and they raided Trump's safe. They raided everything. There are a couple of things that I have read so far. Millie. General Millie, yeah. I'm a little tired, and my mom and I both had a cocktail, which does not make me drunk or anything, but does make me much more tired and does make me want to sleep way more than I did before. But so basically, hasn't learned the lessons of World War II. Hi, Greg. But so basically, one of the things, I was reading a lot of information on Twitter as I was driving, as my mom was driving, as we were driving the last 15 minutes of the trip. And I found a lot of very interesting things. So first of all, one of the things that are going to happen if Trump gets convicted is he's going to be banned from ever holding any office in his life again. 2, other thing is there is just so many charges against him and so many things that will happen to him if these charges stick. 2, a bunch of former FBI agents have commented on this raid and said that they must have a mountain of evidence because for them to approve a raid of this like velocity, they had to have had an insurmountable amount of evidence. They, listen, Steve, if you like Donald Trump and you want to go praise him, you want to go kiss his portrait, and you want to go live in a fascist country, you can do that. I have literally zero, like, I had an 8-hour trip back to the East Coast, and I have zero desire to try and explain things to you, because to me it looks like if you like Trump, you go do that. You go do that. You go praise that. You go praise your Lord. You go, kiss his portrait. I don't know. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Just not here, because I ain't going to have it. Anyways, so the letter of resignation from Milley is quite insane, as he literally says that Trump is a racist and fascist and stuff like that. He quite literally calls him that with every word of that letter. The letter was never submitted, obviously, because Milley didn't resign. But if you were on Arvosis's live, he did explain to you his opinion as to why he thinks that. And I pretty much believe, and I pretty much agree with him. I believe the same thing. I could recite it, but I think that you would rather watch, I would rather you watch Arvosis's live on YouTube and see the recap of that, because at the end of the day, I don't want to just recite his thoughts. I have my own, but at the same time, they quite literally, resemble his to a T. So I wouldn't want to, do that. But I think that if this sticks, this is like the last chance of, if it doesn't stick, then we're screwed. Because for FBI to approve a raid on a former president's residence to a degree to which they've raided everything, they have to have so much evidence that there is absolutely no way that he's not going to get convicted, right? So if he doesn't get convicted, we're screwed. Also, the funny thing is the chief of FBI who was conducting the raid is the chief that was appointed by Trump, which I think was my favorite part of this entire whole crazy thing. But I will read you a couple of, you guys who know me know that normally I'm much more eloquent. Today, I'm incredibly tired, so please bear with me. Also, the fundraiser for Ukraine, Eyes for the Drivers on the Front Lines, is still going on. We are at almost $4,000 out of $10,000 that are needed to buy 3 night vision devices for 3 ambulances. So if you would like to contribute, you could go to the link in my bio, and it'll bring you straight to the fundraiser. Tomorrow was my birthday, and what I asked the public for my birthday is to contribute what they can to the fundraiser. No amount is too small. I know that a lot of people don't donate because they think $1 or $2 or $3 doesn't matter. Everything matters. 50 cents matters. Everything matters, really, because it adds up. And it really does help. So if you have $1 or $2 or $3 or $5 or however much you have, and you can donate it to the Ukrainian frontline ambulance drivers so they could see at night and they don't have to turn on the lights and be discovered by Russians, that would be incredibly amazing of you, and that'll go a very long way, and that'll be the best birthday present that anybody can give me. So if you can, please do that. In the meanwhile, I will tell you exactly the tweets that I retweeted on my Twitter. I've started using it again. So if you like Twitter, you can find me across social media here at Yulia. I'm on Twitter. I'm also simultaneously right now on Twitch and YouTube, because that way, if you missed the broadcast, if you missed some of the broadcast, you can always go back and rewatch it, because it always stays there. So here are some tweets about the events with Trump that I personally have reposted. Kelly O'Donnell, the FBI notified the Secret Service that a warrant would be executed, and Secret Service facilitated access to the Florida Trump property as fellow federal agents, but did not take part in investigation or search. Lawrence O'Donnell posted, possible Trump sentence in a concealed documents case could include disqualified from holding any office. So this is a big thing. 18 U.S. Code 2071, concealment, removal, or mutilation generally. 2, as a former FBI agent, this is Tracy Walder, this is a big deal. We didn't execute search warrants of this magnitude scale unless we had a mountain of cause to back it up. Lawrence O'Donnell, again, the director of the FBI, which is currently raiding Donald Trump's home, was appointed by Donald Trump. So that's kind of cool. I mean, hey, well, goes around, goes around, goes around, goes around, comes back around. We under an illegitimate government. Oh yeah, of course. We under an illegitimate government. You know that your favorite former president that unfortunately became president because some people were gullible enough to believe in everything he was saying and limited enough to do so as well, became president and then tried to cause an insurrection of this government. Because he tried to cause an armed, violent insurrection of the government does not make the current government illegitimate. It makes you, one of the people facilitating the former president's hijab. And also, where are my grandkids right now? Well, my kid in the form of a four-legged creature is sleeping on the bed. If you thought that you saying this because of my cardigan, because of my glasses is going to make me feel any type of way, honey, my self-esteem is pretty fine. And the fact that you have nothing better to do on a Monday night than do this tells me that you probably have not a lot of life and not a lot of things to do in life. So I'm sorry, but at least you know I have you who chooses to do this in order to irritate me. And you have what? Doing this in order to irritate me? I don't know, sir. But Heroям Slava. Thank you. I do love the cardigan too. It is linked in my like to know it. But so what I was saying is that if you support the insurrection, if you think that this government is illegitimate just because Donald Trump said that it was, then you are just as liable as he is for trying to cause an insurrection. Because you, along with your cult leader, can't accept the fact that they lost. Here is the thing. If somebody's committing a crime and you're helping them commit a crime, you are going to be charged as well. So if somebody is trying to cause an insurrection, you support that insurrection. You agree with that insurrection. You help that insurrection. You lobby for the insurrection. You're facilitating the insurrection. You're equally as liable. Oh, I'm glad that's hilarious for you. I'm glad that is very hilarious for you. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly hilarious for you as well when your cult leader finally goes to jail and you, I don't know, maybe will open your eyes a little bit, because as far as I've heard, if you are in a cult and somebody takes you out of a cult, at first it's difficult, it's denial. I get it, it's hard. I understand, I have a psych degree. I feel you. But at some point, when you do not have the influence of the cult leader anymore, you start opening your eyes to the new world. So maybe, I mean, it looks like the particular Trump cult is going to take a while, but gosh. Anyways, that is not what we're here to do today. Oh gosh, okay. You know, before I start the news in Ukraine, all I'm gonna say is that for all of you who are trying to deflect and who are like, oh, the country is so much better now, well, in fact it is. In fact, it freaking is. It's just that you know nothing about politics, and therefore for you, it, it just makes sense to scream. So Hi, Brandy. So for you, it just makes sense to scream and be like, "Oh, is the country better right now?" Yeah, it is much better, on a lot of different levels, and also especially if you're looking at it from a political standpoint. Yes, it is. At least the world is taking us a little more seriously now. Except for all of the fascist Republican people in the government, but it is what it is. Hi, Crazy Cat. Hi, Smiley. Good to see you. But also, stop deflecting. We're not talking about what's going on with a country right now. Our president is not committing crimes. Our president is not trying to cause an insurrection right now. I don't like Biden myself. He's not my choice. But you know what? I sleep at night while he's president. When Trump was president, it was hard, it was hard to sleep at night because that guy was committing crimes every freaking day. That guy was laundering money. That guy was facilitating his business through the fact that he's president, which is abuse of power. That guy was a racist. That guy was a sexist. That guy was a xenophobe. That guy basically made it okay for people to become racist, sexist, and xenophobic. That guy normalized rape culture and called it locker room talk and normalized that too. That guy was the face of our country, and the fact that you support him and the fact that you try to justify it and the fact that you try to fight for it and the fact that your entire argument is like, well, what about Biden? We're not freaking talking about Biden. Jesus freaking Christ. Like, you think I like Biden? No one freaking likes Biden either. Okay? Biden's okay at best. He's a very good dude, quite like inefficient, quite old, shouldn't be the president right now. Like, it's cool, We are not fanatics. We're not fanatics of Biden here because people who think clearly criticize their government. Here's the thing. I don't like Biden, and I'm okay with saying it. If Biden does something bad, I will go out there and be like, oh my God, Democrats really screwed up this time. Oh my God, Biden really screwed up this time. Oh my God, Kamala Harris took up this job without understanding what's going to happen, so she's incredibly incompetent because she looks overwhelmed and she doesn't know what to do. I get it, but at least what they're not doing is they're not abusing their power as president and vice president in order to make their respectable families richer, and in order to make themselves richer, in order to exploit people, in order to get their businesses out there, and in order to basically become freaking monarchy, and they're not trying to stay in power in an indefinite amount of time just because they want to. They're not in denial of who wins and who loses the election. Did you not notice this interesting phenomenon where, no one right now who's a Democrat who voted for Biden goes and says, no, Biden's good, Biden's great, Biden doesn't make any mistakes, Biden doesn't this, Biden doesn't that. Every single one of us criticizes Biden. Oh, honey, I don't watch CNN, don't you worry. Too much Fox News for you. But anyways, every single one of us criticizes our leaders, and that's normal. That's what a democracy is. A leader does something, you go and you think in your head and you analyze their behavior, and you're working for CIA. I wish. I would love that paycheck. I hear they make a lot of money. Unfortunately, I don't. Anyways, so we hold our leaders accountable. Right. Thank you, Entelepy Runner. We criticize them because that's what a democracy is. That's what a democracy is, You see the actions of your leader. You think in your head. I know it's hard to imagine, but stay with me. You think in your head. You analyze what they did, and then you process that, right? And then you're like, oh, wait, I really don't like that. So you go and you say, hey, I really didn't like that. Now, what happens with Trump supporters for some unknown to me reason, it's a cult, unknown to me reason, it's, you don't criticize, thank you, Tabby Cat, you don't criticize Donald Trump. You blindly follow everything he does. And you blindly basically go like, oh, don't delete that Ukraine corrupt person 1 second. That, first of all, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Why are you talking about Ukraine right now? Am I talking about Ukraine right now? I'm talking about the United States. So, so basically, you don't criticize Trump. You just blindly support him, and you're like, he says things like, grab him by the pussy and stuff like that. And instead of being like, wow, that is awful, that is awful, you go like, well, he didn't mean that. He didn't say that. No, it's just locker room talk. Boys will be boys. You justify every single one of his actions. To be perfect, I want them to listen when people say what we need and then do something to help. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's like the thing, I'm sorry. Sure, Ukraine was corrupt. Right. And you know what we're doing? We're doing everything possible as people to fight that. And we have, because no matter how much you want to scream whatever it is that Fox News told you and Tucker Carlson told you, Zelensky is the least corrupt president we've ever had. Zelensky actually thinks about Ukraine. Zelensky represents the people because he talks. When he talks, he says what we want to say. And before you start saying anything, it's like, I'm a Ukrainian citizen. I follow a lot of Ukrainian citizens. Hi, Notabotter. Yeah. I'm a Ukrainian citizen. I follow a lot of Ukrainian citizens, and we all agree our president speaks for us, for the majority of the country. And when we don't agree with our government, we elect a different government. We protest, right? Here, when there were protests and Donald Trump was president, protesters were violently beaten, reminiscent of one country, Russia. Zelensky is not much richer after elected, honey. I don't know where you have not, I don't know what you haven't gathered. What, you're gonna give me the line that he's a comedian? Zelensky owned one of the most successful production companies in Ukraine and Russia, okay? Before that, a lot of his income was actually coming from Russia. So if you want to talk to me about how rich Zelensky is, he was a comedian. He was an actor. He was an incredibly successful, one of the most popular actors in Russia. He had a production company that was one of the most successful production companies, both in the territory of Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky is a businessman with a boatload of investments and stuff like that. And before he became president, he was incredibly wealthy. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on the fact. I'm still waiting on her to expand on the fact that U.S. is a constitutional republic. Yeah, and I'm still waiting for all of you to understand that the Constitution is meant to be amended. Yeah, and here is the thing: where in the Constitution is there a right for the president to legitimately try and overthrow a democratically elected government and get away with it? Nowhere. Okay, now bye. I'm done with it. It's time for me to start the news in Ukraine. It's been 23 minutes, and I frankly really do not want to argue with any of you. You're not my target audience. I'm not trying to argue with Trump supporters about an insurrection being wrong, a violent insurrection being wrong, inciting a violent insurrection being wrong, being a racist while in a presidential seat. Well, it's wrong to be a racist in general, but when you're in a presidential seat, like just that many notches worse. Being a xenophobe, being a misogynist, stealing, using your power to abuse it, to build yourself a few more Mar-a-Lagos. So yeah, I really kind of don't want to argue that with you. If you don't see it, I don't think anybody can help you see it. And the thing is, my mission on this app is to educate people about things in my country and to talk about, to have informed conversations with people about American politics. And anytime somebody jumps on me, with like, oh, it's wrong. Oh, this. Oh, what about Biden? Oh, what about Hunter? What about Ukraine? It's like, honey, that is not going to be an informed discussion because you're not trying to talk to me. You're not trying to give me any arguments of why you in your head believe that this is okay and justifiable. You're literally just using the incubator arguments that you were fed by that same former president. And yeah, it's a little cultish, a little Russian trollish. You kind of remind me of a bot computer where none of you have your own opinion and none of you can actually use your own words to describe something. You have to use the same thing that each one of you in your cult says, because that's what they've been fed by your cult leader. I don't care if you believe that I'm from Ukraine. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. Go find some videos with me waving my Ukrainian passport. I don't know. Go watch anything in my profile. Make your conclusions. But point is, I really don't give a rat's ass if you think I'm Ukrainian or not, whether you believe it or not. That is for you to be. Also, yeah, Poli-Sci, I'll make you a mod. Okay, here, you're a mod now. But yeah, so I know I speak English well. Perfect English is not a thing. Good English is not a thing either. You can't say you speak good English that is grammatically incorrect. Please don't make a Ukrainian girl teach you how to speak English. Good English is not a thing. You can't thank you, Canada. You can say you speak perfect English. You can say you speak English well. I know I speak English well. I speak English since I was 4 years old. Newsflash. And no, not because I was born here and have no idea what's happening in Ukraine because I'm American or American raised or whatever. No, it's because I just watched Nickelodeon in English since I was a kid. I had an English tutor who did not speak Ukrainian. Heroyam slava. I had an I also, read books in English, and I don't know, just so happened, here I am. I have an ambiguously American accent while I speak English, so that it is what it is, and you're gonna have to deal with it. That's just it. Anyways, I'm just tired of answering all of the questions about my accent. And also, yeah, people from Europe, thank you, 100% that girl. People from Europe. People from Europe, thank you, Gap. And people from Europe do speak multiple languages, and we normally, study 2, 3 at school outside of our native language. Like, for instance, I studied Ukrainian and then I studied German and English in school, so it's like not a weird thing. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that's the thing where people, I have no interest in talking to a wall. I have no interest in talking to a wall. Buongiorno. Buonasera. I have no interest in talking to a wall, because here's the thing. None of these people are interested in hearing out the actual evidence of why somebody that they cultishly follow is not good and why they're actually a criminal, right? They only have an agenda of being like, Biden's bad, Biden's bad, Biden's bad. And it's like, yeah, dude, I don't like Biden. Can you stop screaming Biden's bad? Like, we're not talking about Biden. We're not talking about his son. We're not talking about corruption in Ukraine. We're not talking about any of these things. Right now, we were talking about Trump and the crimes he might have committed. That it looks like have an insurmountable amount of evidence to back these claims up, because there was literally a freaking FBI raid facilitated by the US intelligence. It's like the highest systems in the country authorized it. And here's the thing. I'm not interested in you telling me Biden's bad. I don't necessarily like Biden either. I am not interested in you telling me Ukraine's corrupt. You have no knowledge of Ukraine at all. It used to be, yeah, we're fighting to change that, and our president is fighting with us. So be merry, be happy, It's not like countries can decorrupt themselves overnight, but in fact, our people do stand up for ourselves and for our democracy and for our values. So, yeah, I'm not interested in you just using, no, you haven't. You haven't missed Ukrainian news, I'm just starting, but basically, I'm not interested in you yelling at me and telling me that Trump is good and Trump good, Biden bad, it's just, no. Like, it's just really, it's a waste of my time. You're not interested in listening to facts. You literally, anytime, here is what I've realized about these like super avid Trump supporters. Anything that Trump does will be justified in some sort of a manner, whether it be, if there is FBI evidence against Trump, the Trump supporters are going to stand up and say that it was fabricated by the FBI because the FBI is somehow influenced by the Democratic Party. If the entirety of the world has evidence against Trump, the entirety of the world is wrong, and they are just trying to shit on Trump. If there is evidence through, like, I don't know, if the Republican judges that Trump appointed somehow turned on Trump and finally started condemning him, they would say that those judges were bought by Democrats. It's just like, it doesn't matter how much evidence comes out to condemn the man for all of the crimes he has committed. The thing is, again, it's a cult. And in a cult, no matter what the outside world tells you, whatever your cult leader tells you prevails. So that's my opinion. This is where I'm going to end this tirade about Trump. I've already done a inciting an insurrection is a crime. Now, someone please take it out before it even starts talking to me, because honestly, I don't want it. Thank you. Anyways, so the whole point is that I don't want to waste any more of my breath. There's been 33 minutes of that. I'm going to do a YouTube live about all of the evidence and everything. I'll be following that story quite close. And as I said earlier today, I'm not only going to be doing Ukraine news for the moment, I'm also going to be doing American politics news, because that's something that I've always been interested in, and that's something that we discuss quite often. But I think if I do it at the same time as the lives about Ukraine, then it takes away from the things that we need to talk about that pertain to Ukraine. So I would much rather have specific lives dedicated to discussions about American politics, like as I said, my mom is leaving on the 13th. Until the 13th, it's hard for me to schedule something, right? It's hard for me to be like, oh, it's going to be at 9 p.m. or at 2 p.m. or at 3 p.m. It's kind of going to be whenever it can happen. But after the 13th, we're going to go back to a normal schedule. I'm going to be doing lives about Ukrainian news lives at 2 p.m. Eastern every day and on weekdays, and then 2 p.m. every day Eastern on weekdays, and then 12 p.m. Eastern on weekends. And then I'm going to try and do morning lives. I'm not going to say how many times of the week, because it depends on what news comes out and what's happening, because it might be, as in, like, I'll try to do like a 9 a.m. or a 10 a.m. of EST. I feel like that might be early for some of you guys who are on the West Coast. So maybe like at 10:30 a.m. Aravosis. Aravosis, Aravosis. I'm going to get coffee with him tomorrow, actually, because I'm in DC and I really want to say hi. But not in Denver, he's in DC. But basically, yes. So I'm gonna try to do morning lives about American politics, and I think that we should just like keep those two things separate. And as in, like, I still, guys, I love politics in general. I love geopolitics. I love all of that. I keep up with everything. But again, I try to limit my comments and my commentary about it because I don't want to take away from Ukraine, which is my main mission here because I'm Ukrainian. Thank you, Chaz. But I will do separate lives where we can all talk and discuss, because especially even, it's not even like me just sitting there and, kind of like explaining anything because, hey, we all live in this country. But it's rather for us to have discussions about it. And I will be researching. I will be keeping up with the news stories. I will be following those, and I'll be doing research, and I will be giving you all the information that I can find on a certain date. I think that I would say maybe 3 times a week we could do that in the mornings. But if something, or 2 times a week, but if something like breaking happens, then we could do an emergency morning live about American politics and stuff like that. I will also put out a video either tonight or tomorrow night. Either tonight or tomorrow night. And I will, or either tonight or tomorrow morning, on everything that I found so far that has to do with the insurrection raid. And yeah. So I will do that. Now, on to Ukrainian news for the day. Also before, America is not, the United States is not blocking access to TikTok, not that I know of. But here's the thing. So I'm still running the fundraiser for eyes for the drivers of the front lines in Ukraine. It's accessible on my TikTok page. You can click it on my page. You can click the fundraiser in my beacons.ai. It'll take you straight to the fundraiser. If you have $5, $1, $2, 50 cents, everything matters. A lot of people think that, $1 doesn't matter for a fundraiser, or $2 doesn't matter. But if 100 people think that $1 doesn't matter, then that's $100 that could have gone to the cause. We are aiming to buy 3 devices of night vision for the frontline ambulance drivers, because they can't use the lights at night in order to not be spotted by Russians. So they are driving blindsided. Yesterday was my birthday, and that was my birthday wish and my birthday ask, that if you could please donate to that fundraiser, because it is incredibly important. And also, one of the things that I've learned is that small donations add up really fast and go a very long way. So if you can find it in your heart to help Ukrainian ambulance drivers see at night, so they can deliver medications to the front lines, and so they can patch up the soldiers during the night, please go ahead and click my link in bio, and it'll bring you to the fundraiser. Alternatively, you can also Venmo me at Yulia, or you can PayPal me at yuliadesign@gmail.com. And also, if you're on YouTube, because I'm streaming simultaneously to Twitch and YouTube right now, and you prefer these 2 platforms, you're welcome to go over there as well. And then you will see all of the details literally on the screen, because it's on top of my video. And also, well, if you ever miss a news stream or a news broadcast, or you miss the morning politics news, because I know some people like to sleep in, I do. So you can always rewatch them there. But now we are going to go into Ukrainian news for the day. We did have a lot of news today. let me just do this really quick because, oh my gosh. Sorry. There's going to be an influx of perverts because I leaned, and unfortunately, it feels like in this country or in countries around this country or in general, men have never seen a woman before. So anytime anything happens with, I don't know, anytime I lean, for some reason, there is a lot of adult men who seem like they're going through puberty. So, if you write something like guilty or admit to doing that, you're going to be booted so fast because that's so gross. I don't know why. I don't understand like what people have never seen a woman before. Just because I put myself out there online does not mean that I'm an object. I'm still a person, Did not sign a contract to be televised. I just decided to help my country. And the fact that you disrespect that is kind of disgusting. Anyways. Okay. So. Okay. So we're starting off strong with "We will come and unalive you all." State Duma Deputy Alexei Zhuravlyov threatened a German journalist and called him a Nazi in a live broadcast on Russian TV. Oh, Venmo is the same as my handle. Venmo is at Yulia, so it's the same as this. If you're looking for Venmo. And I will let you know at the end of this live how much money we've raised. I will show you what we've raised on all of these platforms because we have the fundraising platform, we have PayPal, and we have Venmo. So I would like to be transparent with how much money we raised. So I will show you everything except on PayPal. I do have my a little bit of my own balance and then the donations. So I will just show you each donation as it came in, and I'll calculate it with you, so you know. Okay, so the news was, "We will come and unalive you all." State Duma Deputy Alexei Zhuravlyov threatened a German journalist and called him a Nazi in a live broadcast on Russian TV. Yeah. British intelligence update as of... Oh, wait one sec. No. I'm trying to see. So strange. One sec. Okay, well, let's go with that. Air defense will not protect Kharkiv and Mykolaiv from shelling, said the spokesman of the command of the Air Force of the AFU, Yuri Ignat. The frontline cities of Kharkiv, Dnipro, Mykolaiv, and Zaporizhzhia suffer primarily because of rocket and barrel artillery. People also perceive it as rocket fire, although it is rocket artillery. Broads, smirches, hurricanes. Unfortunately, the air defense system is powerless against them. We need to smash the enemy more decisively where he's launching these attacks from. The anti-aircraft missile systems also cannot shoot down such targets as package of Grad 40 rockets flies in minutes. In Zelensky's office told what weapons Ukraine needs. In an interview with the German newspaper Tagesspiegel, Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the presidential office, listed the weapons that Ukraine needs most of all. Long-range artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, modern air defense systems of the Iris-T type, a lot of armored vehicles. Artillery and MLRS are needed to destroy the enemy's logistics depots. Thank you so much. I just got a Venmo from Edward. Thank you, Edward. Thank you for the donation. I will let you guys know how much we have at the end of the broadcast. Thank you so much, Edward. Artillery and MLRS are needed to destroy the enemy's logistics and logistics depots. Air defense is needed to protect Frontline and southern cities. Armored vehicles are needed to advance the Ukrainian army deep into the occupied territories. Video emerged of Enerhodar, where yesterday the invaders themselves shelled the area around the Zaporizhia NPP. Enerhoatom gave details of the shelling. 3 radiation monitoring sensors around the site of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant were damaged. The explosions damaged about 800 square meters of window surfaces in various buildings of the plant. An employee of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant was injured during the shelling. There is no radiation threat at the seized Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. So one of the things that I find absolutely abominable is that you don't have to read it to me. It's what I do. So exit out and leave. So one of the things that I find absolutely abominable is that there is a nuclear power plant that has been captured. It has been captured since the fall. And everybody is so concerned about this nuclear power plant, and they're not doing anything. Literally not anything, right? Here's the thing. Nuclear power plants are, in fact, made so that they would collapse on themselves in case they were shelled. And so they are pretty protected from shelling, you know? But if you really wanted to destroy it, you could blow it up, right? They are protected from like a shell. They are protected from like an explosion. They are protected from something that could happen that was unexpected. They are protected from, well, the war has started and a bomb fell. But if somebody deliberately tries to blow it up multiple times, they could. So they're not 100% protected. Now, a lot of people seem to think that Europe should be concerned if this happens. Because, well, Ukraine, obviously, but a lot of people seem to think that it's going to affect Europe if the nuclear power plant blows up. This nuclear power plant is 10 times the magnitude of a catastrophe if it blows up, as Chernobyl would have been had it been blown up. It's not only going to concern Europe. It's not only going to concern countries close to Ukraine. It's going to concern the entire world. The wave of radiation from that is going to be so strong that most likely most of the population of Earth is not going to survive because of that radiation. I think that we would, not even because most of the people would be irradiated, but because most of the wildlife, waters, and stuff like that would be affected. And that means that we wouldn't have fish, we wouldn't have animals. There is a whole ecosystem of things that would be majorly screwed. And that would basically hinder our survival rate because, well, we need food and we need a lot of other things. So yeah, it would be the whole world, not just Europe, not just Ukraine. So yeah, I don't think you guys very often understand the magnitude of what would happen if Zaporizhia NPP would be blown up. Everybody keeps saying like, oh, Europeans are concerned, this is going to be a tragedy for Europe. Like, no, it's a tragedy for the whole world. My fundraising is going okay. We are almost at $4,000, I want to say. I will tell you how much with that 2 recent donations that we have received. There was 108 and we are at $3,854 out of 10,000 that are needed to buy 3 of the night vision devices. So yeah, So for everybody who thinks that this is going to concern Europe, I have a newsflash for you. It's going to literally concern all of the world, and it's going to most likely wipe out all of the world. If that happens, it will be a nuclear catastrophe of a huge magnitude. The link to donate is in my bio. You can press it right there, or you can donate to my Venmo, which is the same as my handle. And I announce all of the donations, and then at the end of the day, I round them up. But with that said, I don't think that Russians are going to try and blow up a nuclear reactor. They are incredibly limited, but not as limited as that, because that would also impact Russia just as much as it would impact everybody else. And there would probably not be anything left. Well, not probably, but there wouldn't be anything left from Russia as much as there wouldn't be anything left from anywhere else. And they're not trying to blow themselves up. They are just trying to hold us hostage because they're trying to hold the world hostage with this nuclear power plant, pretty much, because they want. I also just got a Venmo French. Russell, yes, you found me on Venmo. But yes, they're trying to hold the whole world hostage with this nuclear power plant because they're just trying to scare us into basically submitting, and into leaving Ukraine alone, into not giving Ukraine weapons, not doing any of that. Also, Ryan, you were also I also got a request from you. 1 second, let me just approve these things. Confirm. Natalie, confirm. Okay. So yeah, they're just trying to scare us into submission. They're trying to scare us into not giving weapons. They're trying to scare us into losing support for Ukraine. And what they're also trying to do is they're trying to make it so that the world blames Ukraine for everything that's happening. So they're putting forward this narrative as in like, oh, there is going to be world hunger because of Ukraine. There is going to be this because of Ukraine. But realistically, no, this is all happening because of Russia. Also, thank you, Ryan. We got a new donation, and now we're at $3,954. Why don't you ask my husband if I'm allowed to marry you? Because, I already made that choice, but maybe he maybe he doesn't mind me marrying another man. Also, thank you, Russell. We got another donation, and we're now at $4,054. 10 is looking great. I don't even know if I have a tan, but anyways. Hi, Indonesia. But so yes, so they're trying to control the narrative, and they're trying to control the narrative so that anytime you talk about the war in Ukraine, the only thing that people hear is that, oh, Ukraine is responsible for this and that. But it's not Ukraine that's responsible. That is, it is Russia that's responsible for all of these atrocities. Thank you, Dorota. We are now at $4,254. Thank you, Dorota. I'm also going to wait and thank Russell, Ryan, and Dorota in a second, because I think that while I love it. I mean, oh my gosh, I love it. I know that it's going to take a second to come back into the live. So thank you, Dorota. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, Russell. You guys are amazing. And we are now at a combined donation of $400. And so that makes it $4,254. I just have a calculator thing open, so I had everything that comes in. So yeah. Also, if you like the garment for your wife, which is a very creepy thing to say to me anyway, but if you would like to get that garment, which is the sweater, thank you, sweater, sounds so much better. I have it linked on my LTK. LTK is this platform where anything that you ask me about on the lives, I can link. So it's shopltk.com. You go in there, you find me under the same handle, and let's say here. So you go in here, you find me under the same handle, you scroll down, there is this photograph, and you can click on here, which is the sweater that is linked, and it'll bring you straight to where the sweater is linked. The thing is that my internet is really slow, so it's gonna take a little while, but the sweater is on sale. It's $40.80, and it's really nice. So you can go to shopltk.com and probably /Yulia. I've never tried it, but I think you can look me up and search there, and you can find the sweater, and it'll bring you straight to the link with the sweater. The link with the sweater is strange though. It shows like a black square with like some, I don't even know what, but yes. But you can click on it and it'll bring you straight there. In Rubizhne, the invaders recently buried the remains of 63 dead locals whom they killed 4 months ago. Head of the Luhansk Regional Administration, Serhiy Haidai. In the photo is Severodonetsk. Approximately 10% of the residents remain there. Now it is an occupied territory. Of the amenities, technical water, showers in the street, and a mobile TV, electricity and gas are out of the question. Meanwhile, winter is coming. So, I don't know. It's in my hotel room. But so this is a shot of a man drinking water from a puddle. And this is a shot of a water tank that says technical water, which basically means like water for the needs of, I don't know, like watering flowers, construction, anything. But drinking, but it is drinkable water. It's clean. And so the Russians would rather use that water for construction than to give it to people who are trying to get drinking water from freaking puddles. Well, you can't really drink the puddle water, but what do you do if you don't have any other water? That's all you can do. Speaking of water, I need to go grab a bottle of water because I didn't, and it's becoming quite difficult for me to talk so much and not drink water. So give me a second. I will be back. Guys, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, it is incredibly sad. It is Ukrainian reality every day, though, and it's really, really bad. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here. Alrighty, so the children were saved by sleeping under the table, as the owners of the house told our correspondent. At night on July 25th, the village of Vysha Tarasovka, Nikopol district, was shelled with smirchs. One of the shells hit the house and through the wall flew out into the street. By some miracle, the shrapnel went into the opposite direction from the wall, behind which the children were sleeping. However, the second shell flew into the yard of the neighboring house, right in front of the window of the children's bedroom. The shrapnel hit the outer wall of the house and flew into the house through the window. Only thanks to the fact that the children were sleeping under the table on the floor, they were not hurt. Now the family is spending the night in the woods. In the woods. Because it's safer to sleep in the woods than it is in a Ukrainian house. Meanwhile, more than 1,064 children were injured in Ukraine as a result of the Russian Federation's full-scale armed aggression. As of the morning of August 7th, which was my birthday, which was yesterday, 361 children had been killed and more than 703 were wounded. Zelensky called the head of the European Council, Charles Michel. The president of Ukraine stressed the importance of adopting sanctions against the Russian nuclear industry and nuclear fuel. In addition to the situation around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Volodymyr Zelensky and Charles Michel also discussed grain export, the Crimean Platform Summit, and the unblocking of the macro-financial assistance package to Ukraine. In temporarily occupied Donetsk, a trucking company, Dongortak, was shelled. Local authorities said that a 45-year-old man was killed and 3 others were wounded. Note that Donetsk was also shelled yesterday, hit residential building, and it turned out that only invaders could hit this house, only from Makiyivka or Kaliinsky district of Donetsk, which are controlled by Russia since 2014. So here are some graphic images. They're not as graphic as we're used to, but they're quite graphic. Which the fact that this is not as graphic as we're used to, Heroyam Slava, is incredibly upsetting. That says a lot by itself. Zelensky awarded military personnel serving in the Air Force of the Ukrainian Armed Forces on their professional holiday. Today is the day of the Ukrainian Air Force. Many countries in the world have military aircraft and air defense systems, but only a few countries have truly combat-ready military aircraft and the ability to win victories in the air. We are proud of everyone who fights in the Air Force of Ukraine. Thank you for reliably protecting our skies. iPhone 14. Oh. iPhone 14 release may be delayed due to Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. GSM AS RENA. The main supplier of chips for the Apple Corporation is the Taiwanese company TSMC. It supplies chips to the Chinese Pegatron, on the basis of which iPhones are assembled. Against the background of Pelosi's recent visit to Taiwan and the tightening of trade regulations between China and Taiwan, part of the chips may be returned to the island, which will delay the production of the new iPhone. It is possible that part of the 6.1-inch iPhone 14 will be produced at the Indian Foxconn plant. Oh no! How are we gonna live without the iPhone 14, guys? I don't know. This is like the worst thing that has ever happened to us. We're not going to get the iPhone 14. You know, against the backdrop of all the minimal things that are happening in the world, the fact that the iPhone 14 release might be delayed, oh no. Israel agrees to propose truce in Gaza. Egyptian negotiators await Palestinian response. The bulk carrier Fulmar S has entered the port of Chornomorsk and is ready for loading, the Ministry of Infrastructure. As a reminder, this is the first vessel that entered the Ukrainian port since the full-scale Russian invasion. Also note that a caravan with Ukrainian grain has already left the port of Chornomorsk today. The star of Interstellar, Jessica Chastain, arrived in Kyiv. Here, she has already visited the Children's Hospital Ohmedit. A trip to Irpin is also planned. In addition, the American actress will meet with Volodymyr Zelensky and the head of his office, Andriy Yermak. Over eastern Ukraine alone, more than 200 enemy missiles have been shot down since the beginning of the war. Since the beginning of the war, Syd Air Command has accounted for more than 200 defeated aerial targets. In June alone, our units disarmed 18 out of 24 enemy cruise missiles fired over Dnipro and Zaporizhia, a very good indicator for air defense. Also, something that a lot of people don't know, or something that a lot of people kind of gloss over, is that during the war in Ukraine, there have been more than 3,000 missiles that have been fired onto Ukraine. And that's been 6 months of the invasion. Do you know how many missiles have flown into Afghanistan over 8 years? Give me a wild guess. So in Ukraine, for a lot of people like to compare Ukraine to Afghanistan. First of all, not comparable. 2 different conflicts. Second of all, Afghanistan already happened and it's horrible. But Afghanistan already happened. And it's horrible, but we can't change that. But we can change the outcome of Ukraine. So Ukraine, for 6 months, over 3,000 missiles. How many missiles do you think have hit Afghanistan in 8 years of war? 3,000 in 6 months in Ukraine. How many in Afghanistan in 8 years of war? It's about 300 missiles. About 300 missiles have hit Afghanistan in 8 years of war. 3,000 plus missiles have hit Ukraine in 6 months of war. Palestine also agreed to truce. It will start at 8 p.m. local time. Amnesty International apologized for the anguish and anger that the report on the placement of weapons in residential areas might have caused them. The organization stressed that the main priority in compiling such reports is to ensure the protection of civilians. At the same time, human rights activists did not abandon the published conclusions. Of course they didn't. They were paid for them. 6 months later, not a single piece of evidence. The OP commented on a CBS news film that said that weapons may not make it to the front. Propaganda constantly exploits horror. With the throw-ups about the black market and weapons, Russia seeks to discredit Ukraine in the eyes of Western communities, as a consequence to block support. But 6 months later, not a single piece of evidence. This is a live war where everyone sees that there is a total accounting and scrutiny. Wrote advisor to the head of the OP, Mikhailo Podolyak. Let me remind you, actually, so this is something that John Arabosis was talking about on Live Today. And I'm realizing, guys, that this setup is probably not the best. 1 second. Sorry, YouTube people. I will move you in a minute, too. I do have a desk here. It's just preoccupied with things. And I do need to move these things around a little bit because this is not the best way to kind of have this newscast, because some of my technology needs some charge and I can't charge it while I'm sitting over there. So give me a second. I need a little bit more of a, there we go. Hi guys, I'm moving you as well. Okay, so I'm gonna move this. Sorry guys, see you in a second. Sorry. I just need, this is just not working for me as much as I needed to be working for me. So give me 1 moment. Where did I just put my iPad? Is here. So all I need is just the charger and my water. Well, and probably this. Okay. Let's hope there are enough. 1 sec. Sorry guys, I'm back. I also really hope this stupid lamp turns on better than the other one, because the other one had the weirdest little switch. See, this is perks of doing things in hotel rooms. You never know. It's so convenient. I will tell you, so convenient. No, oh my gosh. I gotta love the fact that nothing's working the way I need it to be working. And it's so cool. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. Yay. Let there be light. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to plug it in the second that it needs to be plugged in. For now, it's fine. Okay. So much better. I'm going to be back in NYC tomorrow night. So tomorrow night you will be seeing the newscast from home. No, don't you dare falling. Don't you dare falling, camera. You know I don't like that. You know I don't condone you falling, camera. No. Come back. Okay. All right, so 6 months later, not a single piece of evidence, right? So basically there was a news story on CBS that basically accused Ukraine in saying that the weapons that are being sent to Ukraine might not make it to the front lines because they're going to be sold on the black market. because Ukraine sells weapons on the black market instead of sending them to the front lines. Now, because CBS picked up that story, everyone decided there is basis to these propaganda allegations, basically, because, well, CBS picked it up. They must have known where they're taking it from, right? So what ended up happening is a Russian politician had accused Ukraine of smuggling weapons to the Middle East and selling them on the black market. A Russian politician. Then Solovyov, who's the main propagandist in Russia, who has his own TV show and like millions of people watch him, millions of people follow him, he had echoed and parroted that claim on his propaganda show. And he had asked Russian citizens to take matters in their own hands and to tell the world about this, to spread the news. So Russians started spreading that news in like Twitter, Russia, wherever the hell they could, in freaking Telegram channels and stuff like that. And then CBS picked it up. And CBS was like, well, how do we back these claims up? We have nothing to back them up with, so we're just going to continue with the story, and we're just not going to ever retract it, nor will we say anything about it, because, well, we just launched an article without any evidence to it. So yeah, and today, when we were on, when I was watching Erevosis, and when you guys were watching Erevosis, I wanted to add that, and I sent a voice note, but I think John only listened to like a little bit of it, and he heard me saying that Russia was corroborating these rumors. Like, no, Russia wasn't corroborating these rumors. Russia quite literally made these rumors up, and that's how these rumors started to begin with. There we go. That's how these rumors started to begin with. And so, yeah, it's a rumor made up by Russia. It's been 6 months. There is not a single piece of evidence that indicates that Ukraine has been smuggling weapons somewhere and selling them on the black market. Well, you know why? Because this is not true. Also, Ukraine has an independent commission that basically ensures that the weapons get to where they go. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. And basically ensures a lot of Russians abroad still, Sherry says, thought Russia closed off the internet environment. LOL, not so much if they ask people to send it out. Well, there are a lot of Russians abroad who have access to the internet, who still believe Russian propaganda and love Russia because, superiority complex. We've seen so many, like Zena Solo posted a tweet the other day where she was showing a Russian girl in, I want to say, Czech Republic or Austria, where she was just walking around harassing Ukrainian people, talking about how great Russia is and saying fuck Ukraine. So yeah. But anyways, EU countries that border Ukraine are losing tourists. Visitors are frightened by news of explosions and rockets falling near the borders. Because of this, Poland has lost 30 to 40% of tourists. A similar situation is in Hungary. Here, the flow of tourists dropped by 45%, and in Lithuania by 39%. Most of all, Slovakia, the number of tourists this summer decreased by 49%. The first ship with Ukrainian grain is delayed on its way to Tripoli. Ukrainian ambassador to Lebanon, Ihor Ostash. We are now in Tripoli, but the meeting of the first ship with corn from Odessa is delayed. We are awaiting for the completion of the negotiation process on the business side. Nevertheless, according to him, thank you for the birthday wishes. Nevertheless, according to him, another 20 ships are ready to leave Odessa. The enemy is concentrating its efforts to establish full control over the territories of Luhansk and Donetsk region, the main thing from the General Staff summary for the evening of August 7th. Now, the enemy conducted offensive assault actions in the areas of Bakhmut, Zaitseva, Yakovlivka, and Vershina. Settlements had no success and withdrew. Fighting continues in the vicinity of Kodoma. The Israeli Prime Minister said that the goal of the military Operation Dawn in the Gaza Strip had been achieved and there was no point in continuing it. According to Israeli authorities, 2 Islamic Jihad commanders were killed during the operation. The goal have been achieved. There is no point in continuing the operation, Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid said after visiting the southern command and control points together with Defense Minister Benny Gantz. Volodymyr Zelensky met with Interstellar star Jessica Chastain. American actress Jessica Chastain is in Ukraine today. For us, such visits of famous people are extremely valuable. Thanks to this, the world will hear, know, and understand the truth about what is happening in our country even more. Thank you for your support, wrote the president. Praxis says, I saw one from Germany, I believe, where the Russian woman harassing a Ukrainian woman with her kid at the beach made the comment the Ukrainians should be killed like the Jews. That one's, one second, wait. Okay, guys, I know why it's glitching. It is because my phone is probably quite low on battery. Do not give me, James, don't you dare giving me any smack for that, because I am in a hotel room and I'm still on my last day of vacation. Things are not going the same way as they're supposed to because I do not have access to half of the things that I normally have access to. So I am trying my best. Okay. Okay, so that one's old. The new video, Praxis, is of these girls in, I believe it's either Austria or Czech Republic, and they're just walking down the street, and this Russian girl walks behind them, and she hears that they're speaking Ukrainian, and basically she starts her sentence with saying something like, Russia is the best, right? Or like Slava Russia or something like that, right? And the girls go, no, what? And she starts like talking about how Kherson is Russian, how they're like dirty Ukrainians, how Russia is going to absorb us and stuff. It's just disgusting. And she like thinks she's so funny, and she has like a Telegram channel with like tons of Russian subscribers who I guess share her sentiments of absolutely hating Ukrainians and stuff like that. And she posts all of this like ridiculous stuff there. She apparently has been traveling Europe, and in her travels, she has been like talking about things like, oh, so Austria is fine because look, here are all of the flags of like the US and Britain and stuff like that. And there isn't like a Hohol flag here. And Hohol is like a derogatory insult that Russians use towards Ukrainians. So it's just, it's a whole thing. I am honestly tired of no, they're not from news reporters. What? Most of the videos are from Ukrainian people. I don't know what news you're watching. There's so many videos from Ukrainian people. I literally show them daily. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, so yeah, it's just a lot. And these like Russian people are literally just harassing Ukrainians for literally being Ukrainian, pretty much the same way as, Russian army is harassing Ukrainians because we're Ukrainian. Okay, so the next news update is Russia wants to freeze the conflict for 6 months in order to bring new troops and weapons to the front line and thus decide the outcome of the war. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the Ukrainian presidential office, made this statement in an interview with the German publication Tagesspiegel. If the West gets tired of the war, then Russia will strike again with all its might, Podolyak explained his vision of military possibilities. He also added that Ukraine should make an effort now to regain as much of the occupied territories as possible, especially in the southern part of the country. Ukraine's victory will be the return of all territories within internationally recognized borders, wrote Podolyak. Head pinned to a wooden post and hands to metal spikes on the fence on either side of the head. Guardian about another Russian atrocity in Ukraine. Video and photos have appeared on the network, presumably from Popasna. On them, a man's head is pinned on a wooden post. 21st century occupied Popasna, a human skull on the fence. The head of the Luhansk army, Serhiy Haidai, wrote under the photo. The Guardian publication cannot confirm the authenticity of the photo, but according to geolocation, the photo is probably real and was taken in late July near the center of Popasna. We know that the AFU retreated from Popasna in early May. This photo, according to the publication, is the last published case of atrocities committed by Russian soldiers after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February. So, it's hard to tell what it is, but over there, that's a human skull just on a post. And then these are the bones from this person's hands, and they're on the either side of the skull. There is that. Evening address of Volodymyr Zelensky for tonight. The situation in Donbass remains very difficult. Our army is doing everything possible to stop the Russian terror and inflict the greatest possible losses on the invaders. Avdiivka, Pisky, Mariinka, Bakhmutsky, and other hot areas in the Donetsk region that take the main efforts and unfortunately main lives. It is also difficult in the Kharkiv region, in the south of our country, where the invaders are trying to concentrate their forces. The key now, as before, is weapons for our defense from our partners. Every day and without any pauses, we work to increase the supply of weapons in order to send more powerful and long-range systems to the front. And the next week, we expect news from partners regarding support packages. It's a picture of a head and two hands stuck on sticks. It was circulating on Telegram. Yeah, that's what I was just looking. 30% reaches, they meant efficiency at that time, not that it gets stolen or anything. Huh. So, Lucas here, Christianas Lucas says, interesting about that CBS article. I checked the blue-yellow organization comment of 30% reaches the front line. They meant efficiency at that time, not that it gets stolen or anything. Interesting. See, because because today there was a lot of talk of CBS saying that that CBS was saying it during the same time as Russia was accusing Ukraine. So I guess the world might have taken it a very different way. Could you send me the comment, please, to my Instagram if you have one, and if you don't, I don't know what's the best way, but I would really like for you to send it to me if you could. I really want to read that. Okay, in temporarily occupied Donetsk today, there is also a lot of noise. The invaders' warehouse is reported to be on fire, and this is what it looks like. We like to see things burning like that when there are Russian warehouses with ammunition. Russian Defense Ministry reports the destruction of 45 tons of ammunition from NATO countries near Mykolaiv. The Russian army has destroyed an arsenal with 45 tons of ammunition near Voznesensk in the Mykolaiv region, according to Ross Media. Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov said at a briefing on Sunday that these munitions were recently supplied to the AFU from the NATO countries. I don't think that that's the case. I think that it was either a depot of the Russians that we blew up, or this is just a completely made up thing because it's from Ross Media and no one else is saying anything about it. So, we're gonna take it with a grain of salt. AFU eliminated invaders of the 64th Independent Motorized Rifle Brigade who tortured civilians in Bucha. In the social network Vkontakte posted a photo of one of the stands with the eliminated Russians from the 64th OMB from Khabarovsk. This is one of the brigades whose representatives brutalized in Bucha. In Kharkiv, strike at an infrastructure facility in the Kyivsky district. An explosion is also reported in Novokakhovka. According to preliminary data, it was that was a hit in the area of the hydroelectric power station. Not good news. Also, guys, I am realizing that I am literally like falling asleep. And it's really hard for me to keep reading the information because I feel like in my head I'm just completely just like, So I'm thinking we have 44 updates left. I can either try and blitz through them, or I can start with those updates tomorrow. And we can do those updates tomorrow. Well, the possibility of a truce between Palestine and Israel is shaken because of the demands that the Islamic Jihad group sent to Egypt. Yeah, I have been traveling, but I believe in rest, okay? It's just I also believe in staying informed and delivering information. But I do believe in rest. I do need to probably rest because I was on the road all day, and this hour and 30 minutes of news definitely did exhaust me, and I just feel like I don't want to. What I'm feeling like is that I'm just blatantly reading the news for you, but I'm not capable of having like a healthy discussion about them right now, And like, you don't need me to just read you the news. Like, you can do that yourself, right? Like, we do this together because we have a discussion, we participate all together, and we do all of these things together, right? And we discuss things, we kind of like give context to things, and we try to, do the best that we can. And me just reading this blatantly without any commentary just kind of sounds a little like glossing over it, and I don't want to gloss over it, so I would rather do it tomorrow. Main news for today: Trump's Mar-a-Lago got raided by the FBI with the permission and aid from intelligence. More explosions in Ukraine, and also if you haven't seen the video yet, I posted a video on my TikTok about the trials of the Azov battalion soldiers that are being prepared in Mariupol. And these are the trials for the Azov defenders. Please watch that video. It's incredibly important, and I think that more people need to see this, and more people need to contact the UN and the Red Cross, because they were the ones who were guaranteeing safety of these defenders, and they failed. And thank you so much. And please send it to friends, please send it to family, please send it to duet it, send it to whoever cares, whoever you think might not care. You never know, because this is some stuff that needs to be widely known, not just locally, because it's horrifying. Now, tomorrow I'm going to post a video about Donald Trump. Oh, I don't believe in Red Cross either, but we need to hold them accountable. But I'll post about Donald Trump and everything that is known so far. I will do, I think, so the summary for the donations is $4,254, unless I'm going to recount that tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you the exact amount. I can tell you, so on Venmo, we have so far $614 on Venmo. $614 on Venmo plus spot fund. 1 second. here. Plus 3,296 on 3,296 on the fundraiser page. And then we have PayPal, which is, hi Luann, which is, I will tell you how much PayPal is. Oh my gosh, because I need to calculate everything. So 150 plus 30, 180 plus 50 to 30 to 50, 400, 450 plus 450. That's $4,360. So altogether, we have $4,360. And if any of you still are able to donate to the fundraiser, we're aiming to raise $10,000 to buy 3 night vision devices for the Ukrainian frontline drivers, so they're able to see in the dark, because right now they're driving blindsided, as they can turn on the lights in order to not be spotted by. Oh, thank you so much, Zelensky. Updates. Basically, in order to not be spotted by the Russians. So the fundraiser started on my birthday. It'll be going, I think, for another couple of days, because I am hoping to reach the goal. So we'll try to do that. But right now, I know I'm not being very good at explaining it, but okay, I need to go to bed because I'm useless at this point. So good night, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. For me to accept, Diane, I think I received a donation from you, Diane, or maybe. Oh, Diane, you, thank you guys. Okay, I'm gonna turn off YouTube because I am, yes. Okay. Bye guys on YouTube.